Hello and welcome to the Football Parliament podcast, the one stop destination for all your football needs, discussions, and debates. So, today we complete our 1 month anniversary, rather, a 1 month continuous uploading streak, as we have been providing you with enough resources, talents, and opinions all over the month. It will be great if you are watching the video, so please subscribe, do like our video, and do let us know about your opinions. Today, we will be talking about our one more team analysis, season end analysis of Real Madrid. So with this, I have alongside Vedant, who is a Real Madrid fan, and Tanish with his expert opinions as always. Yeah, Vedant, I do not think Real has left you in any condition that you should be flaunting your jersey right now.
No, actually they have. Actually they have. I mean, I get your, roast and banter, but actually they have.
Yeah, please. First of all, we should be starting with what went throughout the season. Just a season recap for all our followers.
Should I say?
Vedant. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Real Madrid had a decent start to the season. I think they won four out of their possible six games in the start of La Liga. Then in Champions League, they were miserable against Shakhtar. What a pathetic game for us. I mean, it was a 3-2. Madrid almost had the comeback, but then the goal was disallowed thanks to Vinicius Junior. Then against Inter Milan, we had a great performance in both the legs. Rodrigo scored the last minute winner, so that was great. And we went through. We faced Atalanta in the group stage, sorry, in the knockout stages, and we had a great performance against them. Not in the first leg, but definitely in the second leg. We dominated the play, and in general also the entire season against most of the teams, and especially against big teams, not Chelsea, but Liverpool, Atalanta, Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, Barca, Sevilla. We've dominated the play, we've scored goals, and we've been better attacking wise as compared to our last season because it was all on Benzema last season. And this season, we have seen contributions from key players like Marco Asensio. Then Eden Hazard has also rescued Real Madrid once or twice this season. So it's been a pretty decent season. I wouldn't say it was a great season for us because ultimately we aren't winning a trophy. That's also down to the fact that we had 60 plus injuries. So it's fine. I don't blame the players. I don't blame the management. And most of the Real Madrid fans don't blame Zidane for us having a trophy last season. He did what he could best. So yeah, that's the season review for you.
Tanish, as a neutral fan, as not a follower of Real Madrid, how do you see review the season as a neutral fan, I would say?
Yeah, I may not be a fan, but I am a follower when it comes to Real Madrid and the big clubs and the traditional big clubs. But when I look at Real Madrid, the fact that worries me is the age of the squad. It's really worrying. And the lack of established young players in the squad is something, again, by established young players, I mean consistently performing young players. That again is something which worries me. The core of the team is the veterans, as you look at Cruz, Casemiro, Modric, Sergio Ramos, then Karim Benzema, etc., etc. They have their own strengths, they have their weaknesses, but I think that they've overperformed this season. They've actually done quite well given their squad, given the circumstances in which they were, given the financial restrictions on them because they had to renovate Santiago Bernabeu, given they had to play in their training ground for like an entire season. I think they've done quite well. They will finish second in the La Liga. Maybe even win it. Like who knows what will happen in football. They came to the semi-finals in the Champions League. Yes, they lost out to the Super Copa, and yes, they lost against third division side. But these are freak results, and this can happen. They haven't been consistent, but at the end of the day, this can be a pass of a season for Real Madrid because they have been arguably the biggest, what should I say, the best club over the past decade, I feel, given the number of Champions League and the La Liga titles they've won. So yeah, definitely an underwhelming season, but
And talking about my perspective of this game, I would just say that for this season, rather, not just the game, but I'll just say that Real Madrid were lucky enough. I think so. Just because, see, if we were to compare the La Liga standings as well, Barcelona are going through one of the worst phases they have ever seen in the whole century, I would say. Rather, Atletico Madrid also dipped in form, and that is the reason we see a very competitive top four finish this year. See, this is not that all the three teams are performing at their best and they are competing for the top spot. Rather, all of them were so underperforming that they had to compete for the top spot because one has to win eventually. And saying about their luck in the UCL as well. First of all, they made it so difficult for themselves to get out of the group stage, and then they got favorable draws. And no disrespect to Atlanta, but obviously going against Atlanta, this game they were already the favorites. When a team like Atlanta has to know that they are going to face Real Madrid, half of the matches lost before the game itself. So I won't say that it was a very good fixture for them to win because other teams reaching semifinals have beaten very big teams rather. And then I think they faced Liverpool, right, in the Champions League. See, in the Champions League also they faced a Liverpool side which was going so down during that phase that they saw the worst of their gameplay during that phase. And Real Madrid again got lucky and faced them and obviously defeated them. But they were not able to get past Chelsea as well, who was not so good of a team, but obviously a subpar team according to me. And they did not perform. So this is my review. But going on to you, Vedant, like we have seen, starting with the pinnacle itself, we have seen that talks of Zidane leaving out after this season. How do you see this decision? Is this just Zidane leaving out, or is this a start of a new transition?
Just before we go to Zidane, there are certain points which I agree with Tanish and Chirag, and certain points which I disagree. The first point with Tanish was that yes, there is an aging squad, and yes, those players have like overly performed. Like they've been really very good. For example, Modric, he's 35 and he's played 50 plus games. Cruz is just 31, but that's fine. I mean, even he's aging, even he needs a rest. And Karim Benzema, he's 34 and he's the Madrid side's main man. So that the part is right that the squad is aging, but the thing is that we have young players too, like Miguel Gutierrez, Blanco. Then there's Vinicius Junior who's improving. Then Rodrigo has 8 assists in La Liga. So we do have young players, although we don't really rely on them. That's Zidane for you, but that's there. Plus we'll be making key changes next season. I mean, there will be a player exodus. We can see the likes of Marcelo, Hazard, Ramos leaving the club, and uh, you know, Castilla players like their B team, their players coming into the first team squad, likes of Miguel Gutierrez, Sergio Arribas, and Antoine Blanco. The guy Blanco, he gives me Xabi Alonso vibe. So let's see what happens next season. Now, coming back to the topic of Real Madrid in the Champions League. I mean, yes, we had a poor start in the Champions League, no doubt about that. Shakhtar beat us twice. One was 3-0 and the second was 3-2. I think then we had Inter Milan. We faced Inter Milan and we did quite good against them. And then which was the third team we faced? It was Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Mönchengladbach we beat them again. So I think we were a bit lucky in the group stages when it comes to the Champions League, but I don't think so. We were lucky against Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta are a team which are very strong attacking wise. They've scored the most goals in Serie A this season, and they're a team which doesn't care. I mean, they don't respect you. I mean, not respect mentally, on a mental level, on the game level, on the pitch level. Otherwise, on the interview, the respect can be really seen for Real Madrid. But Atlanta is a team which doesn't fear their opponents. You can clearly see that in Serie A. I think last season they beat Juventus 3-0 or something. So that's pretty big for a small club like Atlanta. But they're a strong team and they'll ultimately get better and better season by season with the experience. Coming to Liverpool, Liverpool had a bad season in the Premier League, no doubt about that. Maybe in England too, but in the Champions League, I think they were a decent side, not that bad really, because even if you look at their games, they've just lost against us. And apart from that, they've almost won all their games. So it's not really bad in the Champions League for Liverpool. And coming back to Chelsea, Chelsea are one of the most informed sides in world football, probably the best team in the world right now. Who knows? But it was pretty obvious that we'd lose against Chelsea because they're really the strongest team, in my opinion, in the Champions League right now. So that was something which was expected, and that's exactly what has happened. Now, coming back to La Liga before I touch the topic of Zidane, that being that in La Liga, it's the part where you said that the teams have underperformed, that Atletico Madrid, they bottled up because they had a 13-point lead in February. Same goes for Barcelona. They're going through a transitional phase and probably one of the worst seasons in their history too. And coming back, and for Real Madrid, we the problem was our attack this season. The wingers didn't really score much goals this season. It was all on Benzema. Asensio of lately has started scoring goals, but that's only because he's played the last 20 minutes of each and every game. So that's there. But the thing is, we just didn't find the consistency in scoring. We should have won the games against Cadiz, against Real Betis, against clubs like Real Sociedad too. But we couldn't really finish the games against them. We dominated in possession, but possession really doesn't matter these days. I mean, just scoring matters if you want to win games. Possession or any other statistic doesn't really matter. And coming back to Zidane, the Zidane topic, personally, I really want Zinedine Zidane to stay because what else alternatives do you have? Raul, a guy who's never managed a top club or even a top five league club, like even a mid-table team. He's just an under 23 manager. So I don't think he's ready to fill the boots of someone like Zinedine Zidane. Although Zidane also came from Castilla, but he had experience with Carlo Ancelotti by his side. Then the next guy is Massimiliano Allegri. In my opinion, he plays boring football. One point which I'll give to him is that he barely uses any funds to, make his squad. That's there. But I really don't, like Allegri. I mean, the boring style of football. He play a 3-5-2. Real Madrid are accustomed to a 3-5-2, but the style of football which Zidane plays is way too different than what Allegri plays. Zidane goes for a bit attacking football, a bit more possession, and that's his style of play. Whereas Allegri, he's a bit reserved when it comes to playing. So Allegri is not a suitable option, and Joaquim Low. I mean, he is a national team manager, so I don't think he'll suit for a team that plays 50 games a season and not 10 or 15 games a season. So I want Zinedine Zidane to stay. He's a world-class manager, probably the greatest manager Real Madrid ever had. And so there's also one disadvantage which I'd like to pinpoint that Zinedine Zidane has completed football as a manager. I mean, he's won the Champions League, won the league, and everything. But the players he's won it with are still there in Real Madrid, and he can't, tell them like he can't go to Luka Modric or Sergio Ramos that listen, your career here is over. He just can't do that because those players were loyal to him and they've already always stepped up for him. So he can't really say that. So we really need a manager who can say that to their faces and we can, make changes in the squad because that won't happen if Zidane is still there. So transition is definitely needed.
Tanish, on this discussion, just your opinion in very short. I would ask Zidane in, Zidane out.
Yeah, I don't really care about what Real Madrid do with their managers, but I feel that they shouldn't let go of Zidane at any cost, simply because he is one of the best managers in recent years. And when I look at the options other than Zidane who could actually replace him, they're not the most attractive. Let's be very honest. I mean, unless they pull out a trick out of their hat and get Hansi Flick or something, that would be amazing. But uh, I don't really see another top manager coming in and replacing Zidane. So I don't necessarily see an upgrade. Yes, there is a transition needed, but I think they should stick with Zidane, definitely. Zidane.
Sure.
What about you,
Tanish,
Chirag? What do you
just
feel?
see, first of all, my opinion upon Zidane is that his time, alongside you said about the senior players, his time is also over. He was best when all his senior players were in their prime. Modric, Cruz, Ramos were in their prime. Or if we are going for a transition for the players, I think a transition for mentality is required all over the pitch, I would say. So definitely, according to me, Zidane should be out, and no top manager would ever say no to Real Madrid. We all know this fact. If Perez will offer a contract to that manager, no one is going to say no to them. And according to me, I would still pick Allegri because Allegri has the experience of managing a top club, managing top players with the highest wages. What we see with new managers is they are not able to handle the pressure of managing players with different wages or different things. But according to me, having a manager like Zidane, sorry, Allegri will definitely sort things out perfectly for them. So I would still pitch in for Allegri here, or any other manager. If any national team manager, experienced one, comes up to take the spot, I will definitely see Real Madrid going for them. Now moving on, Tanish, just your three strengths and three weaknesses of the season. Just brief points in three strengths and three weaknesses.
Three strengths, I think. The most informed strikers in the world. The first strength is always obviously Karim Benzema. Second strength is the goalkeeping position, in my opinion. Courtois has been phenomenal this season. So, and also when it comes to the midfield, that is another strength of theirs because when you see the midfield of Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric, they somehow still play so consistently and they somehow still produce in the big games in La Liga, in the Champions League more often than not. They still play more than 45 games a season now. That is ridiculous given their age and the physical limitations. But obviously, these three are their biggest strengths. When it comes to their weaknesses, I think squad depth is a major issue. I think the absence of, I believe so, is a creative midfielder. There is a lack of creativity sometimes in Real Madrid's play. And I think the third weakness will be, I think, the defense. The defense last year was stupendous, but this season, with lack of Sergio Ramos's consistency, I think the defense has struggled a bit, which might have put them off in the La Liga race. Who knows? They might have not conceded late goals if they were playing in the form they were in which they were playing last season. But these three weaknesses are something that which can be worked upon very easily if you are, say, a club as big as Real Madrid. And I think they'll bounce back very soon.
See, if you talked about the weakness about a lacking of a creative midfielder, I would still say maybe Zidane sticking to his own squad and letting the other young players go on loan. The case here I'll put off is Odegaard. Odegaard is a player fits all the capabilities to put in the squad like Real Madrid squad where they are lacking creativity. I think according to me, see the talking about strengths, Benzema always tops that alongside Cruz. Cruz has performed in big matches. He has not disappointed, considering he is getting old day by day, but he has not never disappointed. See, so according to me, alongside Cruz, Martin Odegaard would have been a perfect choice. So, why? How do you see Vedant? Martin Odegaard staying at Arsenal or coming back to Real Madrid, strengthening them?
See, what I've read from articles is that Martin Odegaard really doesn't want to stay at Arsenal because we all know what Arsenal are going through. I mean, I think they're ninth or 10th in the Premier League, and he doesn't really want to stay for a mid-table team, and he wants to come back to Real Madrid because, you know, at Real Madrid you always have the chance to win the best trophies. I mean, Champions League for once. So personally, I don't want Martin Odegaard back because when we started the season, Zidane really went for him. I mean, Zidane tried him at cam with Eden Hazard at left mid and Marco Asensio at right mid. Zidane tried him at right wing. That didn't work. Zidane tried him at right central midfield. That didn't work. Zidane tried him at right midfield. That is the wide midfield formation, 4-4-2. That didn't work either. So I don't know who's to be blamed here. Is it Odegaard or is it Zidane for that matter? I think loaning him was the perfect option because he wasn't a key asset to the team anyways in the start of the season. So that's fine. But the reason why Florentino Perez and Zinedine Zidane loan their players is that just so that they can get they can get the time to play. I mean the playing time which they need, and so that they're not rusty and their career doesn't go wasted. So that's why they're loaned. And even if you look at one guy, his name is Brahim Diaz. He can play at right wing and at left wing, and he's good with both of his feet. And even he's been on loan to AC Milan. Most likely he's gonna come back because he's having a great season at AC Milan. And even in my opinion, he should come back to Real Madrid. Um, and I think loaning players isn't bad at all because if some players actually step up in their loan spells, Real Madrid can clearly get them back midway or at the end of the season. So that's fine, I think.
See, also I'll talk about the winger problem, as you said. When we talk about the prime Real Madrid times, when you had the BBC combination up front, we all know the contribution of
Miss them.
Bale and Cristiano was much more than the contribution of Benzema. Not saying that Benzema was shit or something. He was equally really good, but the goal contribution was more from the wingers. But this year we have seen neither Vinicius, Rodrigo, Eden Hazard, even Asensio for that matter, have stepped up on the goal contribution part. It has been just one man, that is Karim Benzema. So how do you
Yeah.
see in the future? Are you going for a winger? Because going into a transfer market in this kind of situation where all teams are going into debt, it does not make any sense
Plus,
according to me.
Real Madrid's financial state isn't financially stable. So Real Madrid really can't afford a world-class winger. They are saying that they have some money in their reserve, something around 150 million. So I think they can splash the cash on Kylian Mbappe. But let's see. Coming back to the BBC part, Karim Benzema played like a deep lying forward where he used to link up the play between Bale and Cristiano towards the midfield, which was Cruz Casemiro Modric, which is Cruz Casemiro Modric. That was his aim, and that's why he lagged in goals. And he was the missing key to the puzzle. I mean, for Bale and Cristiano Ronaldo to work together, he was the guy who made that happen. Otherwise, that wouldn't happen. That's what even he says and Zidane says. So that's there. Uh, After Cristiano left, his game has changed completely. He's been more of a attacking option, like the guy who doesn't drop down. Uh, Sorry, yeah. So as I was saying, that Karim Benzema doesn't, drop down deep. So that's why his statistics have improved. They've actually boosted because ever since Cristiano left, he's got around 70 goals. So that's great.
See, if we are talking about hypothetical situation and you are claiming that Real has 150 million in their banks, Tanish, just one name who could just be the perfect man for Real to lift them up in the next season. Any name you have in mind?
Wow. One name, I think they'll need to sort out their attack. I mean, take the burden off of Karim Benzema, maybe get a Harry Kane. Why not? If you have 150 million, go out and spend it. I don't think Daniel Levy would say no to a flat 140 million of him. Even for Harry Kane, he's not as good or as young, maybe even better, but not as young
But he's in his
as say
prime.
a Haaland or a Mbappe. But yes, exactly as Vedant said, he is in his prime, and he will definitely do very well in that false nine role or whatever. Even if he wants to lead the line, he can do that very well as well. So that is a player that you will get guaranteed 30 goals a season from, guaranteed. Yes, he's a bit injury prone, but that can be worked on easily again. Uh, yes,
Yeah, now
Harry Kane.
before moving on to
Just
Vedant,
imagine a Harry Kane
yeah,
and a Karim Benzema partnership. How deadly would that be? With a Imagine like a attacking midfielder playing just behind them, and the three players that you have in midfield behind them. So that's a completely different team, and that's a much more threatening side than what Madrid have right now.
I'll completely agree on the Harry Kane part because we have seen rumors of him asking for an exit from Spurs, and obviously Real Madrid looks a very likely destination. But according to me, going with both Kane and Benzema, who do not contribute defensively much, obviously they contribute, but much of the part they do not go for the best part. So I will still say that
Chirag. Okay, there's some issues with Chirag, so I'll just
yeah,
continue what he
no, no,
wanted to
no,
say, and then I'll give my
no.
opinions. Okay, so you're back. Say.
Yeah, sure. See, according to me, just before going to you, Vedant, I would go still for a player like Sancho. When we know Eden
Hmm.
Hazard has to strike his prime, and you have Sancho, whose price is very much reduced as of now. You will get him for around 60s to 70, not 60, rather 70 to 80 million
80.
from, yeah, 70 to 80
Yeah.
million. And you are, as we discussed, we are lacking a creative midfielder here. Sancho could play the part of a creative person who could be making up attacks, building up attacks, and if Eden Hazard has to strike his prime back, if he is getting into his boots again, having Sancho and Eden Hazard on both the sides, then obviously Real Madrid would be unstoppable. Both the wings flung by one of the best dribblers in the world football right now, alongside a striker like Benzema, who is putting in goals from wherever he is getting the balls. So definitely, according to me, going for a Sancho would make sense as they will not be having much of competition. The only competition I could see is Manchester United. But any day, any person will choose Real over Manchester United, according to me.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just wrap up with you, Vedant. Who has been the best player according to you this season, and who was the worst player according to you this season?
See, I'll actually talk about three players, three categories to be honest. One being the best player, second being the worst player, and third being the most improved player this season. Before that, I'll just like to mention that Harry Kane and Jadon Sancho might come to Real Madrid, but in my opinion, I don't think we should go for English players because we all know what good history we've had with English players. I mean, apart from Gareth Bale and David Beckham, no one has really stepped up at Real Madrid, and English players don't really perform well outside England. So I don't think either of them should come. Plus, usually, I mean, Eden Hazard, he's definitely going to be sold. I'm pretty sure about that. And we'll get Kylian Mbappe next summer. That's the guy I really want. Like, I just love watching the guy. And he's definitely one of the best players in the world right now. and he's just only gonna get better. He's only 22, and he'll just get better. So at left wing, I'll want Kylian Mbappe, and maybe we'll stick to Marco Asensio. I mean, the guy had an ACL injury, plus in the 18-19 season, he had a conflict with Julian Lopetegui and Santiago Solari over playing time. So that's the reason why he couldn't play much that season. And now he's just getting back to his best. He had a goal scoring streak of 5 goals, like consecutively. So let's see what happens. I think Marco Asensio is the guy we should stick with because his defensive
Just
contribution is really very good. And now coming back to the topic, coming back to the question
no,
which you
just a
had for
minute.
me.
I'll just
Yeah,
no, I cannot ignore the smile on Tanish's face when you said you are going to sell Eden Hazard. Obviously, a Chelsea fan
yeah,
waiting for the comeback. Yeah, you continue.
yeah. Okay, fine. So the most improved player this season, it's actually a tie, but I'll have to stick to one. It's Nacho Fernandez, in my opinion. He's played all season long. He's played at CDM, at left back, at right back, and even at centre back. For God's sake, the guy can play at almost all positions, like defensively speaking. So he's the most improved player. He's played like 25 or 30 games this season. That's great. Then he's also stood up when Sergio Ramos wasn't there. He's actually a natural leader. He's even the fourth choice captain for Real Madrid. He's even captained us this season 4 to 5 times, I think. And that's great. Other player is Edo Militao, who's also improved his game. I mean, I personally hated the guy because of the 2-1 game against Man City and many other defensive errors in the 1920 season. But he's also improved massively. Had a great performance against Liverpool and even in the first leg against Chelsea. But let's see what happens next season with him. Then the best player, obviously, no doubt about that. Either one of them. It's either Toni Kroos or Karim Benzema. Either of them are the best players Real Madrid have right now. Tanish is sticking to Benzema, and even I'll stick to Benzema because the guy has played 50 games. He's 34, and he scored around 35 goals this season. So that's great.
Now, Tanish, your three players. Just the
My
names.
three what players, improved players,
One
best
best
players.
player, worst player, and the most improved player.
My best players, obviously, undisputed, Karim Benzema. Cruz maybe a close second. Worst player, the player in which I've been most disappointed
Eden
in is
Hazard,
Rodrigo. No, Rodrigo. I
Rodrigo.
really
Okay.
expected a lot from someone who was so promising and who was meant to overtake Vinicius Junior this season. And I don't think he has suffered a major injury to actually pull him back. Maybe he
He
hasn't
has.
impressed Zidane in training or something like that, but I don't see him anywhere close to being in the first team when it comes to playing big matches. Uh, I don't know a lot about his end product as Vedant might have. I don't know. But I thought that he was meant to be something better. Maybe he'll bounce back next season and prove me wrong. Let's see. But yes, definitely the player I'm most disappointed in is Rodrigo. Third, who is the most improved player? I think, in my opinion, I'm going to go with Adam Militao because last season I saw him play, and this season I've seen him play. Yes, he still has an error in him, but when it comes to pure defending and positioning and ability to read the game, I think he has gotten significantly better this season. So yes, those are my three players.
I just forgot to talk about the worst player. I'll say, just debating with you, Tanish, on this. Rodrigo has, I think, 8 or 9 assists in La Liga. The reason why he couldn't start every game was because he had a thigh injury and the other being an ankle injury, which kept him out for, I think, 2 months as a whole. That's why he couldn't play that much. So my worst player would be uh, Alvaro Odriozola. The last 2 games he's been fine, but apart from that, he's been really very bad this season. Even Zidane has played Federico Valverde at right back instead of Alvaro Odriozola, so you clearly know how bad he is. But right now he's playing decent, so it's fine. Anyways, that's the video for today, guys. I hope you liked it. It was a season based on Real Madrid today. Probably Barcelona tomorrow. Who knows? We completed a month of video posting. We'll just improve more. That's the video for today, guys. You can hear us on Spotify. Bye bye. Peace.